Welcome back to the Sibling Group Chat. I'm Owen.
And I'm Cassidy.
Today we are back at it with the Odyssey review, episode 50 by Faith Noah. And this is also our 52nd week of the Sibling Group Chat, meaning we have hit 1 year of the Sibling Group Chat.
Woohoo! I honestly am a little surprised we've made it here.
Yeah, me too, a little bit. It's kind of crazy. I mean, we've had so much growth, you know? We started on the floor in your bedroom without video.
I know, and now we're recording with fancy mics in separate locations, and we have video, and we have a small following. We've been on a different podcast.
Great times.
Phil Lawler has commented on our Facebook posts.
That might just mean we were too controversial, I don't know.
It meant he couldn't understand what a tier list was, actually. But, it's fine.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yes, exciting times. So this is the 56th episode of Adventures in Odyssey, because, as two-parters, our numbers are slightly different. It originally aired, the title is by Faith Noah. It originally aired on January 7th, 1989. That's going to take some getting used to saying, 1989. And this is the first episode of Album 4, Fundamentals. And with it being the first episode of this album, I remembered this time to take a peek in the official Odyssey guide, the 25th birthday edition. And I thought it was interesting that they said their thought process behind this album was that Connie had just become a Christian at the end of album 3, so they wanted to focus on the fundamentals of the Christian faith. And they had originally planned on Connie being the center of basically every episode, as she herself was learning these fundamentals. But then Chuck Bolte thought it would be better to spread it out and have it be more balanced amongst all the people of Odyssey.
I think that's funny because the literal first episode, it doesn't even have Connie in it.
No. So we're all learning these fundamentals of the faith from different kids and people around Odyssey, but it all started with Connie's a new believer, and they want to address these fundamentals, which I think was a pretty good idea. Yeah. We'll come back to the guide again at the end, but yes. So in this episode, Whit tells Jack Davis and Lucy Cunningham a humorous version of the story of Noah, and our themes are faith in action, the Bible story of Noah. That's it. I read that weird because I have notes in the incorrect spot.
Yep, I mean, that is the theme. It's just faith and Noah. Hence the title, By Faith, Noah.
Yeah. I somehow, when I was keeping track of my character list, when I was typing my notes, I put half the characters at the end of my themes. So my notes say, faith in action, the Bible story of Noah, Noah's neighbors, and Japheth.
Yeah. Hey, are you ready to get into it, I guess?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so we don't really get any intro other than that Jack and Lucy are at Whit's End talking to Mr. Whitaker, because that's where you go when you have questions and need stories.
Yes, when you have questions about what it means to be a Christian.
Yes. And their question, we kind of get the end of a story before we figure out what they were trying to ask him or learn about. Because Mr. Whitaker is finishing up a story about a boy who didn't have enough active faith to trust his father to jump out of a burning building, which is kind of a dark story to start an episode with.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like maybe I'm remembering it wrong, even though I just finished listening to it. I don't think he ends it that the boy didn't jump.
Well,
he just ends before the boy would have, and leaves it up to Jack and Lucy to determine what would happen.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, it is a rather abrupt ending, because even the music is super dramatic, and then Jack's like, well, Mr. Whitaker?
Yeah, but so they're asking him about what it means to have faith, and Whit is telling them that you can say you have faith, but until you're actively living it out, it doesn't really do any good. And Jack and Lucy are asking him what it looks like. Some people say it's weird, or make fun of people who have faith in God because you can't even see God. At least in the story, the boy could see his father there. We can't see God. So
I find it a little hard to believe that there's kids in Odyssey making fun of kids for being Christians. At least in the show as we know it so far. Ronnie Rathbone hasn't been introduced yet. Just when Lucy said she had kids bullying, making fun of her at school, I was like, really? There's some
I
sassy
mean, it's
kids.
not like every person in Odyssey is a
I
Christian,
know it's
although
not like
sometimes it does give that vibe.
I know. I just it felt a bit odd to me, but
I was listening to an episode in album 70 something the other day, and I don't remember her name. Wyatt's sister.
oh,
Is her name Bridget?
Bridget,
Yeah.
Bridget.
Said something about being like the only non-Christian in this town or something like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't think that they intend to think that everybody there is a Christian, but it does kind of seem like that sometimes.
yeah,
So yeah, Mr. Whitaker says that he wants to show them something up in the Bible room in regards to their question. So they go up to the Bible room, and Mr. Whitaker shows them. First, he shows them some verses from Hebrews 12?
11.
11. Yeah, I kind of wasn't paying super close attention. I was
Well, I don't
half
know if he
watching
said it,
basketball
but
while I listened to this. Um,
so I don't know if he said Hebrews 11, but Hebrews 11 is the Hall of Faith.
okay, so maybe I just missed it and I was just trying to remember. I don't remember if it was before he showed him that or after Lucy. I think Lucy said something about really liking the Bible room. Or maybe
Yeah.
Jack said something about there being something new in there every time he's up there.
Yeah, this time there's a big boat.
Yeah. I
What
wonder
a-
whatever could that boat be.
I know, what a handy plot device. I wonder if it's next to the big whale. Big fish, sorry. That would be kind of funny.
Yeah, big fish. Get it right.
Big fish. I know. This seems, since I brought it up, this episode does feel like very similarly laid out to Return to the Bible Room with the story of Jonah, which is
Right.
probably
Except
on
for they
purpose.
don't have anywhere else they're supposed to be in this episode.
That's true. They're not, but that's not the lesson to be learned in this story.
Right, right.
So, that.
Oh yeah. So Whit had read them the part from Hebrews in the Hall of Faith about Noah having faith. Well, I think he reads them like the beginning of it and then the verse about Noah. And then, so Whit, did he just say like, "Sit down and I'm going to tell you about Noah," basically?
Kind of. I don't remember his exact words. He does say that, the Bible doesn't give us all these details that we can imagine in the story. Like, it was very clear that he's dramatizing the story.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And
I
Jack
find
said
it,
something about like, "Yeah, I've heard the story," and Lucy's like, "Yeah, everybody's heard the story, but it's better in the Bible room."
yeah. I think it's funny that Mr. Whitaker's like, Noah lived hundreds of years ago. Yeah, he lived thousands of years ago, to be exact.
Well,
George Washington lived hundreds of years ago.
technically, if you lived thousands of years ago, you also lived hundreds of years ago. It's just more
Yeah,
hundreds, and we
I know,
have
we just
bigger
don't-
numbers to use. But
I know. We just don't normally say it like that when it's that far back.
it's
So
true,
I found
yeah.
it funny.
he should have just said millennia ago, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he starts the story about Noah. With saying that the world had become so wicked that God questioned why he created the world, mainly the people and animals, and he was going to destroy the entire world. But there was one person / family who found grace in the eyes of the Lord, and that was Noah and his family.
And then we get a very comical telling of the story of Noah.
I forgot this episode, but I love Noah in this episode so much because he
I was
comes
typing
in.
out funny lines the entire time. His wife is just as funny. The whole thing is funny.
Yeah, because he comes in to their house or whatever, and his wife asks him how his day was, and he says he did something, planted something in a vineyard, and talked to God. What's for dinner?
What's for dinner? You talked to God and you want to tell me what's for dinner? I also just love the fabulous voice acting of Walker Edmondson as Noah and whoever is the voice of Connie's mom as Mrs. Noah, as I referred to her, because what else do you call her?
Right, because then she's like, "Tell me what God said, and then I'll tell you what we're having for dinner." And so he starts talking about God was telling him that the world is wicked, and he was planning for destruction of the whole world. Wait, where's the newspaper? I want to see the scores of the game.
And then she's like, he should live in our neighborhood if he wants to see wickedness, as if God can't already see the wickedness in their neighborhood.
Then she's like, wait, destruction, like, is this imminent, like, tomorrow, or, like, what are we talking about
Like,
here?
cancel my hair appointment for next Saturday.
And then so he's like, no, God wants me to, or said that there's a way to be saved or whatever. He wants me to build an ark and save this and all the animals. and he said something about get to be a shipbuilder, a zookeeper, and a something else.
A shipbuilder, a sailor, and a zookeeper.
Yeah, and she's like, "You're only 400
480 years old.
years old. What's a new
A new
career?"
career. Yeah. Before that, I think it's before he says they're building a boat, the ark. I think he just says God's sending a flood, and she's like, "And what are we supposed to do? I mean, we're not a family of radishes."
Yeah, because
Why
yeah.
radishes?
I don't know. They're not animals.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so Wit is going, or not Wit. Wit is not going to build an ark. Although theoretically he did build an ark for the Bible room. Noah is going to build an ark to save his family and all the animals. And I don't remember. Oh, and then Jack and Lucy are like, "Well, I hope God gave him some time. I mean, like, it took me a year to build a treehouse or something like that, and 3 weeks to do a butterfly project."
Yeah. And it's like, oh, yeah, it took him 120 years.
Jack goes, "Oh, that's not bad. Only 120, 120
120
years."
years. It is crazy to think like how long this story is, or really any of the stories like at the very beginning of the Bible, because of how long people were
It's like
living.
we just don't really have a good concept of what it would have been like to live that long.
Yeah, to be 480 and then you're given a task and it takes you 120
Yeah.
years to do
Like
it.
sometimes, like, how did age like? Did they age like 100 years for every 10 we age now, or like how did aging work?
It was a lot slower, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm assuming they weren't like elderly for 800 of their 900 years.
Yeah, but also with even though they lived that long, it was odd for Abraham and Sarah to have a child at 90 and 100.
It's true.
So maybe they age just as quickly, but old age was just better. I
Well,
don't know.
Abraham and Sarah were after.
After Noah, so yeah, lifespans were shortening.
Yeah. 'Cause it's after Noah, right? That God's like, yeah, we're gonna keep that to 120 years, or
Does he
something
say
like
that?
that. Huh?
Does he say that?
I'm pretty sure there's a verse in the Bible about people living roughly 120 years.
It could be right. I'm not remembering that off the top of my head, but
Hold on.
isn't there somewhere it said something about like you're given 80 years? I don't know. Excuse us while we do a quick Google search. Giving time for Noah to build the ark. I wonder if Mr. Whitaker and Ken Ham would be good buddies.
Well, that
They
depends.
probably would.
Does Whitaker know the seven seas?
If they existed in Odyssey, I'm sure he does.
Genesis 6, verse 3 in the NIV. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years.
Interesting. I did not remember that.
Hopefully, I'm not taking that out of context.
I'd say, where is that in context? I know that's after the
That
flood.
is right
but-
before Noah and the flood.
Oh, before Noah and the flood.
Yes, so starting in verse 1, when human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120." And then it talks about the Nephilim, and then
So-
the wickedness on the earth.
So perhaps, I don't know here, maybe that's where he's getting the 120 years, as in God was saying, they've got 120 years left, and then I'm going to destroy them all.
That could be, actually, yeah.
Because I feel like if we went straight from like Noah lived 500 or lived to like 900 something to go straight down to 120 would be
Yeah.
very abrupt.
But I feel like it is after Noah that it starts getting less. Like, they still live longer than we do now, but I feel like it starts getting less after Noah. But I could be
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway, fun little biblical tangent.
yes.
Anyway, so after the 120 years, or during the 120 years, I guess, which says that Noah probably got made fun of too, because, like, people weren't just going and building gigantic boats and hurting animals.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning, I feel like that Mr. Whitaker doesn't mention, probably for the purpose of his story, that it had never rained before.
Mhm.
So, like, people would have been even more puzzled than they are in Mr. Whitaker's story, because in Mr. Whitaker's story, there's an Ark Builders Union. There wouldn't be an Ark Builders Union if it had never rained before.
Well, see, here's a question I have. What exactly classifies as an arc? Because we don't call big boats arcs today. We don't really use the word arc.
Well, Noah got that copyright in right before.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah. No, but like,
Yeah.
what is like? Is an
know.
arc just a big boat? Like, could we just start referring to cruise ships as cruise arcs?
I. This is not an answer.
I'm gonna start
I've
doing
heard
that.
this answer too.
Say I'm going on an arc.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Another tangent that's unnecessary.
But anyway, yes. So Noah is being made fun of by all these people that are like, "You've been saying the world's gonna be destroyed for 100 years. It hasn't happened yet. We're not worried about it." Um, and then there's even more fictional part than just the making fun of him of someone from an arc or someone coming to give him a citation because he doesn't have a building permit. Union workers from the Arc Builders Union being upset because he didn't hire them. Something
Animal
about
rights
constitutional
activists.
offenses, animal control.
Yeah.
Basically, I don't think they say animal control, but that's
Yeah,
basically what
yeah.
she is. And parking fines because his arc is double parked.
Yeah. It's probably more than double parked.
You would think like they must have some massive parking spaces.
Yeah. For the
I think it's
elephant.
worth mentioning when all those people show up. He's like, "Look what you did to my rose garden. I've had elephants for 15 years, and they've been more respectful."
Yeah. Yeah. The whole scene is quite funny.
Um, then they went on the ark with all the animals and Noah. God shut the door and flooded the earth and destroyed them. And at which point, Mr. Whitaker was gonna just conclude the story because he figured that they had already know the rest of it.
He's like, I proved my point.
Yeah, because the point was Noah did all of this over 100 years plus with having faith in God that this was actually going to happen, even though he'd never seen him.
Yeah.
Because that was their original question.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we need to hear the end of the story. So he's like,
He's
well,
like, you can't end there.
covered in water until we sent out birds until the bird came back with a branch, and the branch
You
said there's
can't
land.
skip through this. This was funny.
What, Japheth?
It was Japheth bringing him the birds with like his prayers. Or he's like, we appreciate it. Amen.
man.
Fly, my little dove. Fly till you find dry ground. If you can find it. Yeah. And then by like the third time, he's like, well, you know the routine. Maybe I should try.
Are you
the
sure you
bird."
don't want to try the raven again? No, we'll stick with the dove. Maybe I should try the parakeet.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's all funny.
Yeah, so then they find land. Noah builds an altar to God. God sends the rainbow as a sign that he will never again destroy the earth via flood. It might just be that he'll never destroy the entire earth, but I think flooding has something to do with the promise
Yeah.
as well. And
Yeah, Mr. Whitaker also mentions that God told him to be fruitful and multiply. Like, okay, Mr. Whitaker, this is a kids show.
well, I mean, it is what he said. And
It is. But for as much other stuff as we left out, we could have left
Also,
that
it's probably
out.
weird. Did he say fill the earth because like that's kind of an important thing they kind of ignored until
Yeah.
God could use the languages.
Yes, yeah. Be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. But yeah.
One thing I will say, Tower of Babel memes are hilarious. Have you ever seen those? It's like at the Tower of Babel be like, it's like, so this is what we're gonna do, and then it just like switches languages halfway
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, those are funny. Yeah, I also
Um,
find it a little bit funny that Jack asked Mr. Whitaker what happened to Noah after this, and all Mr. Whitaker says, "Oh, he lived a lot longer." Good tact,
Yeah.
Mr. Whitaker.
That's
he can
another
read that
story
later.
that you should read in the Bible when you're older now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so they talk about having faith, and Jack says something about like, if I have faith like Noah, will I live to be 950 or whatever like that? And he's like, if you have faith like Noah, you'll live forever.
And it just ends. I find that, while true, really
little.
cheesy.
Yeah, I can say it's a little bit of a corny ending.
Yeah, and that's hard to say in an already silly episode, but I don't know. It's just like, Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll say Chris's outro. She was reading a verse of the point, like, whoever is born of God overcomes the world. I don't remember what verse it was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up the episode. It's worth mentioning here, like I said, we were going to come back to the guide later, and we're talking about how silly this episode is. There are notes on this episode in the guide. They say, on the right page. In this episode, we presented a Bible story as a humorous skit. Some listeners didn't appreciate the story, so it was a long time before we tried to make a Bible story funny again.
Who are these listeners?
But I was thinking about that, thinking about the people who were bothered and what they were bothered by when this show, like in the early 90s. Can you imagine how bothered they would be with where the show is at now? And I'm not saying where the show is at now is bad, but I'm just saying if somebody was bothered by silly Bible stories, I feel like they would have a lot bigger problems.
With what exactly?
I don't know, just maybe some of the storylines they've done, or how
like
crazy
a mind control corporation moving into Odyssey.
Mind control, escape rooms.
The imagination station of death.
Yeah. I'm sure there's, I mean, we know
the entire Adele saga.
Yeah. I know, there's always going to be people who are bothered by things in the show. I just think it's like, they were bothered by silly Bible stories. Heaven forbid.
I bet you they were anti-Veggie Tales, too.
Probably.
But yeah, I guess that does it for this episode. What do we got next week?
Next week we have The Prodigal Jimmy.
Ah.
It's another good one. Album 4 is just... I don't listen to these episodes very often. And so it's been a while, and I'm excited to listen to them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I guess that'll about wrap it up for this episode. We thank you for watching and or listening. Go ahead and follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Subscribe where you get the podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. Bye.